Hey Yogi, welcome to class. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I am Rhi and this is Drakey. And if you're returning, then welcome back. We are stoked to have you with us as always. For this class, if you know you like props, then grab some blocks. Maybe have a blanket handy, might just be comfortable towards the end of the class. And this class today is actually a class that I taught to some university students. The university asked me to do a class that would help them to de-stress during exam period, which is like a big ask. And so I've kind of just drawn on, I guess, the things that help me when life is really stressful, and life can be just pretty manic. I think sometimes everyone's just in survival mode, certainly in the current kind of climate of the world right now. So whether it's exam stress or just, work, life, job, family, anything that's going on, obviously we all feel loads of different pressures and stresses at loads of different times. And so I've just, in thinking about this class, tried to think about a type of class that would benefit me when I'm feeling like I'm all in my head and need to have a break from being so much in my head. So I know for some people that's a really restorative, very mellow, very yin, very zen, very chilled pace. For me, I always find that if I'm feeling a little bit like frazzled, I kind of need to get it out with some kind of vinyasa style movement. So, not necessarily really fast or crazy core work, but just fluid motion that has a little bit of pace to it. I always find that if I do that first, that kind of gets me able to drop down into my body and quieten the mind a little bit for a little while. And then when I go to a more chilled practice after that, it's way more kind of available to me, I guess, or I'm more open to it. So anyway, that is what this class is designed to do. So as I say, you won't need anything per se. I am going to have to move Drakey off my mat. But other than that, if you know you like blocks, then grab them and meet me in a child's pose. So just settle in here. For this child's pose, take any child's pose that feels good. So maybe that is the knees nice and wide and the chest reaching forward. Perhaps it's more of a small child's pose with the knees together. Feel free to bow the head down towards the mat. Sway from side to side, just getting a little bit into the hips if the knees are wide. And just let the fingertips go out long. Notice the cadence of your breath here, the rhythm of it. Are you breathing into and deep into the base of your belly, the base of the spine? Or are you breathing a bit shallow? If there's a lot going on upstairs in the brain, then often, you may be breathing really shallow. You may be in that kind of survival breath. For the next few breaths, try and just elongate them. We're not going to do any fancy pranayama. We're not going to do any fancy yogic breathing. But we are just going to really consciously try and bring that breath into a long and strong cadence. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Feel your belly start to expand and your chest expand. And then exhale through the mouth. Sigh that out. Let all the air go. Inhale, same again. Visualize that you are sending that breath all the way down through the mouth, the throat, the chest, the abdomen, right the way down to the base. And then open the mouth, exhale. Visualize that breath coming up the back body from the base of your spine, through your mid-back, your upper back, your throat, and then out of the mouth. 2 more, just like that. Inhale. Fill all the way up. Take on as much air as you can. And exhale, side out. Inhale. Through the nose, picking up all the air that you can. And exhale, release it all. Let it travel up the body to go, to leave you. Nice. Take 1 more inhale on your own, filling up as much as you can. And then as you exhale, start to come onto all fours. So hands underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your wrists. Think about gripping the mat with the fingers here. Imagine you are pulling almost the fingertips back towards the base of the wrist. And make sure that the hands are slightly turned out. And then from here, we'll just take some circles, circling the shoulders over the wrists, one way, and then the other way. And feel that weight transfer across right to left. All 4 corners of each hand, taking some weight. And then as you switch it up, feel that transference move left to right. Now start to let the kind of full spine get involved. So wriggling through your neck, through your head, wriggling through the torso, through the hips. Just letting everything start to feel awake, feel energized. Nice, and then from here, turn your left palm back to face, fingers facing the left knee. Right palm is going to twist back to face the right knee. If this is too much, just take the palms out to the side, but we want them kind of like the funky way. Then from here, on an inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest, look forward, cow pose. Grip the mat here. On an exhale, start to roll it the other way. So tuck your tailbone underneath you, take your chin to your chest. You're really puffing strongly through your shoulders. Cat pose. Inhale, back through to cow. So lift your tailbone, drop the belly, lift the collarbones, shine them forward, lift your gaze. Exhale, back through to cat, puff through the upper back and tuck the tailbone as you tuck the chin. Inhale, come through into that cow pose. Lift your tailbone as high as you can. And then exhale, chin to chest. Make that angry cat position. Come back to center and take the hands to face back forward. And then take a couple more wrist circles. That can be quite intense on the hands, but we are going to be on the hands quite a bit. So it's just really nice to make sure that they're warm, just so they don't ache afterwards. That's the main thing. Cool. And then from here, sit back to the heels. Make 2 fists with the hands and press the backs of the fingers, together. And then the backs of the hand are going to come down to the mat. Bend your elbows, and then as you inhale, start to straighten through your arms. They may not straight very much at all, but it's the action that you're looking for rather than the aesthetic. Exhale, go back down to the mat, bend your elbows. Inhale, draw your chest up so that you work to straighten through the arms. Feel that lovely stretch through the forearms. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Nice. Take the hands back underneath the shoulders so that you're back into this sort of tabletop quadruped position. And then from here, take your and just place it somewhere near to the left of your left hand. So you'll come off your mat here or whatever you're on, and it's cool for that foot to be at a diagonal. So the foot does not need to be going up towards the top end of the mat. It can be kind of off a little bit. And then from here, this right foot, just click it in one. So I always think of this as like a gate that you're opening and closing. So think of closing the gate here and then come up. So we're in this kind of half side angle pose. And then from here, we're just going to slowly start to lean into this left side. So you can keep your hands to the mat if this feels quite strong. You can have your forearm to that left thigh. And then start to straighten. Doesn't need to straighten all the way, you're just coming up and going down. So we're just kind of pulsing here, getting a little bit into that left hip, trying to open up a little bit through that left inside thigh. Feel that left glute turn on as you do that to help you kind of take that left knee away from the body. Feel free to go as deep as you want. This whole, ankle has to stack and knee has to stack directly under ankle is just, it's well intended, but it's not necessary. So feel free to challenge the range in your ankle by really just pressing that left knee over it. And just notice if you're starting to feel a little bit more looser here. Nice. From here, plant the left hand on the inside or roughly near to the left foot. It's really not needing to be exact. And then on your inhale, you're going to sweep that right arm up and just take a little twist to the side. You can look up to the right thumb. Exhale, close it off. Inhale, sweep it open, take a bit of a twist. Exhale, close it off. One more of those. Inhale, open up. Exhale, close it off. Nice. Right hand, left hand underneath your shoulders. That left knee is going to come back into where you were. And then you're going to take that right foot somewhere on the outside of the right hand. Again, it doesn't need to be kind of facing forward. This is totally your preference. And then you've got your left gate open, close the gate. So just turn it in a little bit. Again, doesn't need to be like 90 degrees. 45, I guess, is somewhere nice to be. And then you can either stay onto the hands and just bend and straighten the leg, or if it feels okay, you can actually kind of come up here using hands or no hands. I like to have my right forearm on my right thigh just to like encourage my right hip open a bit as I take the movement. Again, challenging that ankle, see how much you can take the knee over it. Keep gripping and suctioning up through the right foot so that you lift that inner right arch. Don't let it be flat. Nice. On your next bend of the knee, drop the right hand on the inside of that right foot and then take your left hand alongside it. On your inhale, sweep the left arm up and twist. Look up. You can look to the left hand. Your gaze, your yogi gaze, your drishti can be up to the hand or down. Exhale, let it go down. Inhale, sweep the arm up, look up. Exhale, let it go down. Inhale, scoop the butt underneath you as you lift up. And exhale, feel that right glute turn on. And inhale, one more. Exhale. Cool. Take that left hand and right hand back under you. Have a little wiggle of the hips here. Nice, and then grip the mat with the fingers, tuck the toes if they're not, and lift your hips up high. Come into downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Feel free to walk this dog out a bit here, so really bending and straightening the knee of each leg, just sort of pedal the feet out, let the hips sway. And then once you've done that for a little bit, come to stillness. So everybody pop a little bend, just a soft bend in the knee. Think about, at the moment, my tailbone is really tucked under, my lower back is rounded. Think about sending the tailbone up to the sky so that you have length through the back. To do that, you may have to pop a very deep bend in the knees. Forget about where your heels are. We have this obsession that our heels have to be flat in yoga. And if I try to flatten my heels to the mat, as with most people, I'm going to get some rounding in my lower back, which I don't want. So forget that. Let your head hang heavy. Squeeze your inner armpits together. That's just going to rotate the upper arm bones and help you be nice and strong here. And then feel this out. Feel how it feels. Draw the belly button back. Gaze can be back to the toes. Really lift that tailbone. Nice. And then we're going to run through the vinyasa options for the class. So inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, slowly push off your feet and roll forward. Come into a high plank. So shoulders are going to stack over wrists. Option one, you're going to drop the knees. Taking a half push up here, so slow lower and push back up. Tuck your So option one, we'll lower the knees. Then we'll take a half push up, so nice slow lower and then push up. Really draw the belly button back in there to engage the core. Then slowly send your butt back towards your heels, drop your forearms, look forward. And then slide along and into upward facing dog. So you're almost skimming the mat, dragging the body through the arms. And then exhale, push back into downward dog. That's option one. Option two, lift heels, bend knees, roll forward into high plank. You could, for the rest of the class, when we vinyasa, take a full push-up on the exhale. Drop the knees, everybody, drop the forearms, look forward. And then inhale through upward facing dog. Really press the tops of the feet into the mat to lift the chest. You can drop the knees, tuck the toes, and then push back. Downward dog. So one more of those just to get it square. Choose your option. Lift heels, bend knees, inhale, roll forward, come into a high plank, and exhale. Vinyasa, so half or full push-up. Drop knees, drop forearms, look forward. Slide through, come into upward facing dog. Inhale when you arrive. Drop knees, tuck toes, push back. Downward facing dog. Nice. Cool. We'll move on. From here, the right leg's going to come up nice and high, 3-leg dog. Then come high onto the ball of the left toes. Deep bend of that left knee. This is your spring to take you forward. Then drive the right knee into the chest. Spring off the left toes. Roll forward so your right foot goes outside your right hand. Drop your back knee down. You can tuck or untuck the toes. It's really not. It's just preference. I tend to keep them tucked just because it's easier to move quickly that way. And then from here, sweep the right arm up and around. Take a twist, a gentle twist in this low twisted lizard lunge. Exhale, the right hand comes back down to where you got it from. Now tuck the toes if they were untucked. Start to lift your hips up and away from the mat and work towards straightening the legs. So straight is relative. So if straightening the legs and keeping the hands to the mat is not an option, then just pop a soft bend in that right leg. In fact, it's nice to have a bend in there even if you can have your hands to the mat. Plug your right hip back. That's going to increase that stretch on those right hamstrings. Modified pyramid pose. Then replant the hands and the right foot, and then you just spring off the left foot, bend the left knee so that you can take the left foot on the outside of the left hand. If you come off your mat, it doesn't matter. In fact, you should. From here, knees go wide, hips sink low. Inhale, arms forward, lift the chest. Active squat. Exhale, draw your hands in as you stand, engage the glutes when you get there. Then reach up, look up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, start to bend your knees. Hands come through the center line back to active squat. Knees are wide. And then inhale, take both hands to the mat. Step your right foot back. Step your left foot back. Come back to down dog. Nice. Left leg will lift, nice and high. 3-leg dog. High on the ball of the right toes, deep bend of that right knee. So you kind of want to get your chest as close to that right knee as you can. And then drive your left knee into the chest, spring off that right foot, plant your left foot on the outside of your left hand, drop your back knee to the mat, coming into that lizard lunge again. Inhale, sweep your left arm up and back, take the twist. Looking up, feel nice and open here through the front body. Exhale, plant the left hand down and then tuck the back toes, work again to straighten the legs and lift the hips. So a bend in the knee here is totally cool. Plug back this left hip, so this left femur bone, try and suction cup it back into your left hip here. Modified pyramid pose. You can lift the toes towards the shin or you can keep them on the floor of that left foot, whatever feels good. It'll be more intense if you lift the toes. And then exhale, drop your left foot to the mat if it was lifted. Spring off your right toes. Take your right foot to the outside of the right hand. Deep bend of the knees, send them wide. Hips are low. Spine is nice and long. Arms reach forward. Active squat. Exhale, draw your hands in, come to stand. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Your drishti, your yogi gaze lifts. Exhale, your hands come down through the center, back into that active squat. Inhale, your hands meet the mat. This time, left foot goes back, right foot goes back. Downward facing dog. Good job. Lift heels, bend knees, roll forward into high plank pose. When you get there, take a vinyasa. So either a full or a half push-up. Everybody drop knees, drop forearms. Look forward and then come through into upward facing dog. Inhale when you arrive there. And then exhale as you work your way back to downward facing dog. Awesome. Nice. From here, we're going to run through some sun salutations from the Awakening Yoga system, Awakening A. So lift heels, bend knees, look forward, inhale. On your exhale, step your right foot to the outside of the right hand, left foot to the outside of the left hand. Back to where we were earlier. Inhale, halfway lift, active squat. Exhale to stand, draw it in. Inhale, lift the arms up, lift the gaze. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sink the hips back down, active squat. Inhale, hands to the mat. Step one foot back, step the other. From here, exhale, take a full or a half push-up. Drop the knees, of course. Then everyone drop the knees, drop the forearms, look forward. Come through into upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, push back. Downward facing dog. Nice. Look forward. Inhale, lift heels, bend knees. Exhale, step, or this time maybe you want to jump the feet to the outside of the hands. Inhale, active squat. Exhale to stand, draw it in. Inhale, reach up, look up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, back down, active squat. Inhale, hands to the mat. Look forward. This time you might want to jump back into your high plank and then take a half or a full push-up. Drop knees and forearms, look forward. Come through into upward facing dog. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Good job. One more of those. Lift heels, bend knees, look forward. On your exhale, step or jump feet outside hands. Inhale, active squat. Exhale, draw your hands in to stand. Squeeze your glutes. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sink back to active squat. Inhale, hands to the mat. Exhale, step or jump back. Full or half push-up. And then everyone drops knees and forearms. Come through into upward facing dog. Push back. Downward facing dog. Good job. Take a couple of breaths here. Through the nose and out through the nose. Lift your tailbone high. Squeeze your armpits together. So you're in a nice strong downward facing dog. Nice. From here, lift your right leg nice and high. 3-leg dog. Same again, high onto the ball of the left toes, deeply bend the left knee, drive that right knee in, and then spring forward, placing your right foot next to your right thumb, so not on the outside this time. Drop your back heel down inwards, and then inhale, reach your arms up, come up into a warrior two. So warrior two, you know, it's a pretty traditional, like you'll see it in every yoga class. Just think about sending that right knee wide so that it's not caving in and really pressing into the outer blade of that back foot. If that's all you think about for today's class, great. Inhale here. On your exhale, can you go a little bit deeper? Commit more to that front knee. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Feel nice and strong here. Feel capable. And exhale. Nice. On your next inhale, just straighten that front leg. And then click your back heel in like one. Well, I say like one. I like to click it in one. You can do whatever you like. It just helps me with the next asana. So from here, on your inhale, you're going to start to lean forward. So what we want here is for the pelvis to just tilt rather than kind of leaning and crunching to get there. So just tilting the pelvis as that right arm extends. And then when the pelvis won't go anymore, you're just going to drop the right hand to wherever it goes. Don't worry about coming down to the mat and then closing off the front body. We want the front body to be nice and open, nice and long. So don't worry about going to the floor here. And then inhale, stretch that left arm up to the sky. Try and scoop your tailbone underneath you. So scoop your butt underneath you and engage through both right and left thigh to lift your kneecaps. Again, press into the outer side of that left foot and lift your inner arches. Can you close that right eye and still see can you close the left eye and still see your hand? Nice. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Nice. And then from here, inhale, sweep that left arm down, come forward. Come up, start to bend through that right knee. You're going to start to lean forward over that right leg and drag or slide that left foot up. Start to lift the left leg. So you've got the left hip opening to the left and you're coming into your half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. So Try and open the arms up, but it may be easier to just keep the hands at heart center. Flex the back toes, so draw them back towards the shin. Feel your glutes turn on. Nice, and then rebend that front knee and slowly drop the left foot back. Come back into warrior two. Nice. From here, your left hand will plant, your right hand will plant. Step your right foot back, downward facing dog. Lift heels, bend knees. Inhale to roll forward into high plank. Exhaling, take a full or a half push-up. Drop your knees and forearms, look forward. Come in to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg high to the sky, 3-leg dog. High on the ball of the right toes, bend the right knee. Drive your left knee in, spring off the right toes, left foot next to the left thumb. Drop your right heel down to the left. Inhale, sweep up, engage your glutes as you do that. Coming into warrior two. Send that left knee over to the left. Plug into the outer edge of that right foot. Stand tall here. Arms reaching long. Looking over that left middle finger. Try and scoop your tailbone under you, so no kind of sticking out of the butt. And be here. Feel strong. Feel stable. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good job. From here, inhale, straighten through that left leg, coming into triangle on this side. Click the right foot in one. Then as you exhale, start to tilt the pelvis so that the left hip is going towards the top of the mat. The right hip is going towards the back. Keep leaning forward with that left hand and then let it drop when it can't go anymore without kind of bending through the back. Keep the back nice and strong and long. Reach that top arm up to the ceiling. Your gaze is to the top hand or to the bottom foot, wherever feels best on your neck. If you're gazing to the top, see if you can close the right eye and still see that right thumb with your left eye. Engage your inner thighs to lift your inner arches of your foot. And you're here, Trikonasana, triangle pose. And then look forward, start to bend through that left knee to allow you to drag that right foot up towards the left heel and then lift the right foot, coming into a half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Open the arms if you feel good. You're opening to the right, opening through that right hip. Plug your left big toe into the mat. And then slowly rebend. Plug your left big toe into the mat. Slowly bend the left knee and drop the right foot back to where it was. Come back into warrior two. Inhale here. And then exhale, left hand to the mat, right hand to the mat, left foot back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Inhale high onto the ball of the toes, bend the knees, roll forward into your high plank pose. Exhale, take your push-up. Drop knees, drop forearms. Slide into upward facing dog, ignore Drakey, scratching. And exhale, push back. Downward facing dog. Nice work. I'm going to turn so you can see me for this next one. So we're going to now put the Awakening A. Nice. So we're going to sort of mash up the last two sequences. So inhale, lift heels, bend knees, step or jump feet to the outside of the hands. Inhale to active squat. Make sure your feet are completely off the mat here. Exhale to stand. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, back to active squat. From here, inhale, start to lean over that right knee as you lift the left foot up and straighten through the right knee. Don't worry if you come out of it. So we're coming back into that half moon. You can open up the hands here. Ardha Chandrasana. And embrace the wobbles. And then rebend that right knee. Slowly drop your left foot back behind you. Rise up, straighten the front leg, arms out. Exhale into warrior two. So we're in a funky position on the mat here, and that's fine. It doesn't always go like linear up and down, just like life kind of throws curveballs. It's not all straightforward. We're just mirroring that on our mat. Inhale, straighten through the front leg, and then reach forward all the way on the exhale to come in to triangle on the right side. Trikonasana, scoop your tailbone under you. Nice. And then from here, rebend through that right knee. Come back into half moon. So you're going to scoop the left leg up. So you're coming into this Ardha Chandrasana half moon. And then really challenge yourself. Bend the right knee and see how slowly you can just drop the left foot back into an active squat place. And then come back into it. Deep bend of the knees. Nice. Inhale, your hands will go to the mat. Step or jump your feet back. And vinyasa. Take a full or half push-up. Bend knees, drop forearms, look forward. Inhale through to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Nice. I'll turn back to front now. Cool. Look forward, lift your heels, bend your knees, step or jump feet to the outside of your hands. Inhale to active squat, rise up. Exhale, draw it in to stand. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale to active squat. From here, make sure your feet are kind of off the mat for balance. Lean over that left leg. Keep a bend in the left knee. Start to come in to half moon. So bend the left knee until that right leg is lifted and then straighten or work to straighten it. Ardha Chandrasana. Slowly rebend in the left knee. Drop your right toes back, come up. Find that warrior two pose. So straighten the legs to begin with. And then exhale, rebend that left knee. Coming into warrior two. Inhale, straighten that left leg. Lean forward as much as you can. And then exhale, left hand down, right arm up. Coming into Trikonasana. Nice. From here, come back up. Rebend that front knee, the left knee. And then can you slowly slide your way back into that half moon just for a moment. Then rebend your left knee. See how slowly and gracefully that right foot can go to the outside of the mat. And then deep bend of both knees, coming back into active squat. Inhale, hands to the mat. Exhale, step or jump back and take your half or full push-up. Drop knees and forearms, look forward. And inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, push back. Downward facing dog. Beautiful work. From here, roll forward into high plank and then slowly lower all the way down to the mat. And tuck the toes. Nice. Make a pillow with your hands and then let your forehead just rest to them. I'm going to keep my head lifted just because I sound like I'm shouting my head off down the mic otherwise if my head is too close to my microphone.
But you can let your forehead go to the mat and take a moment of reflection here. So if you've never done anything like that before, you might be like, what the hell just happened? What the F? And even if you have done lots of yoga before, you might be like, oh, that was just a bit different to what I'm used to. Or maybe you're like, yeah, that was so easy, whatever. But, you know, wherever you are, just take a moment here to reflect on, did you manage to kind of lose yourself in the movements, in the yoga, just for a little bit, rather than letting the mind be the loudest thing? And that's the aim. The aim is to build some heat, some energy, and then to quieten our monkey minds, or the chitti-vritti, as we call it in yoga. Slowly start to regather your breath under control here. You've now earned all of that nice, softer, slower movement, which we will take for the last portion of the practice. From here, lift your head and take your hands so that they're in a 10 to 2 position. So if where your head is facing is 12 o'clock on a clock, just take your hands, make little spidey fingers to 10 to 2, lift your elbows, and then lower your forehead to the mat. Everything from your hips down are engaged, but they're heavy to the earth. We're not lifting them. On your next inhale, slowly start to rise the chest up. Pushing into the hands to lift the chest, lift the gaze. Exhale, rebend the elbows, slowly lower the chest down. Oscillating cobra pose. Inhale, roll yourself all the way up. Look straight ahead. And exhale, lower all the way down. Nice. From here, take your left arm out, straight out of its socket, so it comes into a half T shape. Then your right hand's going to go underneath your right shoulder. Push off your right hand to roll onto the outside of your left hip. And then from here, you're going to bend that right knee and drop your right foot somewhere behind you. You can let your head drop to the mat, or you can keep it lifted, whatever is best for you, really. If you notice that you're kind of looking really far down the mat and you don't want to like lift your head to neutral, then just relax out of the stretch a bit. So don't roll over as much. It probably means you just go in a bit too heavy on that left shoulder. And just start to slow the breath down now. You've done all the hard work. Slowly bring your right leg back on top of your left and roll yourself back to center. Bring your left hand under your left shoulder, your right arm out into a T, and then take the other side. So roll onto the outside of that right hip, and then bend your left knee and drop your left foot somewhere behind your right leg. If that feels like it's too much, then just keep the left leg stacked. It's just an option, really. It'll just help you get into that right shoulder a little bit more. Again, if you feel like you have to look down the mat, because it's kind of a bit awkward to keep the neck and the spine neutral, then you've probably just stretched a little bit too much for today. So on this side, so just relax it a little bit. So just let your kind of right shoulder have a little bit more space by lowering your left chest closer to the mat. If it's okay to keep the neck kind of long, then stay where you are. I can hear Drakey breathing so heavily, and it's always very soothing. Slowly straighten that left leg and then roll back to center. Nice. We'll take one more oscillating cobra before we move on. So hands it back into 10 to 2, head heavy. And then inhale, roll up. Notice if you feel a bit more space now in the shoulders. And exhale. Release. Nice. From here, take your hands so that your arms are just sort of flat out in front of you. And then bend your right knee, take it out to the right side. Actually, I'm going to show this on the left because it's easier for you to see me. So bend your left knee and take it over to the left. And then start to feed your right arm underneath your left shoulder by lifting your left arm up. And then start to twist so that you end up on your back. So you're working here just to kind of twist through the spine, kind of compress and decompress. You can have your right hand on top of that left knee if it feels good. Try and ground the left shoulder blade to the mat. That's just going to intensify the stretch. Looking up to the sky or to the ceiling or looking to the left hand, whatever feels best. Notice how your breath is here now versus the start of the practice. Are you breathing a little bit more deeply, a little bit longer? Slowly release the left knee if you had it with your right hand, and then just start to come back to where you started, so twisting or rolling back to the front, and then draw that left knee back in to meet the right. From here, that right knee is going to go out, so straight out of the socket into like a 90-degree shape, and then lift your right forearm so that you can just feed your left arm through, let your left shoulder ground down, and then drop your right shoulder onto the mat as well. So worry more about having the shoulders on the mat than you do about how far your right knee is to the floor. Worry more about finding the twist in your kind of mid-back rather than, worrying about how far over that right leg is going. Again, the left hand can just gently hold on to the right knee just to encourage it to go a bit deeper. And you can look over to your right hand if that feels nice. Breathe into that right side body, into the right lung. And of course, we can't actually just conduct the areas that the breath goes, but just visualize that that's where it's taking all the breath, and just see if you can just send more breath in that direction through that focus. Nice. Now from here, release the right knee if you've got it with your left hand. And instead of rolling back onto our bellies, we're going to come onto our backs. So you're literally just going to roll so that you're flat to the mat. You might have come off your mat that's fine. So you're going to want to wriggle to make you kind of back on it. If you're on a mat, you may not be on a mat, and in which case it doesn't really matter where you are. It's the beauty of practicing without a mat, I guess. From here, bend both knees, and then take your right knee, draw it into the chest. So kind of just cradle it in. Then cross your right ankle over the top of, or the bottom of your left thigh, I should say, just above your left knee. Then take your right hand, gently start to open up through that right hip. Reclined pigeon. This might be enough for you. This might actually be super intense, especially if you kind of live in tight hips. So, this is going to be a nice place to gently open them. If this feels fine and you want to go a little bit deeper, feed your right hand through the gap and then clasp right hand and left hand on the back of that left thigh. So you clasping the hands together and then draw everything in towards the chest. Let your head and your shoulders just go back to the mat flat. I like to flex both sets of feet. So that's like drawing the feet back towards the shin. I just find that helps me like turn on the whole leg, get the calf doing something. Just start to relax here. This is the chill, the ease. You've done all the crazy hard work, all the movements. Now you can just enjoy some stillness and some softness. And keep altering how much you draw that knee in and out. Keep feeling how that right hip is doing. If it needs a little bit more, draw it in. If it needs a bit of release, let it open a bit more by kind of letting that left knee go away from you a bit more. Be in control of this. Be in control of, how much you want to ramp up the stretch. Nice. Release that left foot, release the hands, and drop the right foot down to the mat. Draw your left knee into the chest, give it a squeeze, and then take your left foot and hook your left ankle on the bottom of that right thigh, above your knee. Gently push open the left hip by just gently pushing the left thigh away from you. Make sure your shoulders are nice and grounded here. This might be enough, or you're going to feed that left hand through the gap. Maybe you take the back of the right thigh, or you take the shin and you clasp left hand and right hand over it. And then just start to draw this little structure in towards you, opening through that left hip. Notice any imbalances from one side to the other. So this is my more open side. My right side is always super sticky in those places. I'm always like, ugh. It always needs more of a stretch than the left. So whatever imbalances you find, just notice them. We've all got them somewhere. Maybe not obvious, but when you start to really look at what you're doing and look at how you're moving, and yoga is great for that, you might notice them. Nice. Slowly release the right leg. Drop the left foot to the mat. Nice. And then from here, if you've got a blanket, then it's just optional. You could take your Shavasana, which is just, you know, you're lying down flat on the mat, or I'll show you by the window. If you've got a blanket, it might be nice to scoot yourself as close to a wall or like a wardrobe or just, I don't know, something, as close as you can get, and then take your butt right up to that wall, or in my case, the window, and just let your legs go up the wall. So the blanket's just nice because it just lifts the hips a bit. Or you can take Shavasana, because you may not have a wall nearby, or there might be loads of stuff on it, or you may not want to get your feet on it, and that's, you know, cool. But really make sure that your hips meet the wall. So don't be like away from the wall and then kind of be, I don't know, like a triangle. Just be an L straight up against the wall. You can take your arms up and overhead. You can close your eyes. Wherever you are now, let's just find a final place of ease. Hopefully this practice is just given whatever the things are that you have to do, or puts pressure on you, or makes life, you know, what it is, maybe sometimes challenging. Hopefully this practice has allowed you to just step out of that for a little while and step into your body. Be at one with your body, connect to it. And just feel your vibe, you know, feel the vibe of who you are without all of the madness, without all of the busyness and the stresses. I think when you come onto your mat, you meet your authentic self, and you know what your vibe is. I encourage you to either stay lying flat in Shavasana if that's where you are, or keeping your legs elevated up the wall if that's where you are, for as long as you can. So maybe you've got 2 more minutes, 5 more minutes, maybe you've got 20 minutes. Just stay, enjoy the relaxation, see what comes up. As always, Yogi, thank you so much for letting Drake and I into your homes to practice with you. Hopefully this class has given you something a little bit different. And as always, we're just really stoked to move and groove with you on YouTube. Until next time, Yogi, thank you so much.